Now, in this section, I'm going to start talking about the third dimension. And the first tool that you will use to take your sketch to the third dimension is Pad tool. Now, the one thing that I want to mention right now is the order of operation. The order of operation in CADIA is not important. You can select the tool and then draw the sketch that you need for that tool. You can draw a sketch first and then select the tool and start padding, grooving, or pocketing, or anything else that you want to do there. So this is not important here. I prefer to have the sketch first and then select the tool that I'm going to apply to this sketch. So I'm going to XY plane, that is the floor plane. I click on a sketch, and now I'm aligned to that, sketching environment. I select a very simple profile like a rectangle here. Now I draw a rectangle like this, and I'm going to have some constraint applied to this. So I go to constraint here, click on this line. This is going to be 100 millimeters, so I type in 100 here. And again, this is going to be about 200 millimeters, so I type in 200 here. Now I want to have symmetry between this line and this line, so I press Ctrl and select both. And now the third line that is going to act as a mirror is this. So I select this and go to constraint define and add symmetry to my lines. And of course I can select this line and add a 50 millimeters of dimension. This is exactly as mirroring the lines like a symmetry. So I exit my workbench. You can see that this is selected, and of course I can select it at any time, so I deselect it by clicking in a blank area. I'm going to select the pad tool here, and if you do not see this here, you can go to insert, you can go to sketch base feature, and you can see padding here. So I have this tool selected, and you can see that the first thing that I want to choose is the type of padding. The only thing that I can select right now is dimension, because I do not have any other limits to use up to next, last, planar surface. So I'm going to talk about these later. So I have dimension. I want to have padding about 50 millimeters. That means I'm going to have 50 millimeters of mass added to this shape. And now you can see that the selection is empty. It tells me that there is no selection. If I want to create a sketch from the scratch, I can click on this sketch button here, but I'm going to select the sketch that I have created previously. So I can move my mouse over the sketch, or if it is hard to select what you have created, you can go to the specification tree. Now you can see the sketch here. Whenever you click here, you can see that the sketch goes under the pad and it is indented. It is part of the pad right now. So you can see a preview here. And the preview tells me that this is upward. So if I want to have it downward, I will click on this little arrow here. You can see that it changes direction. I can click on this again. Again, it changes direction. Or the same thing can be achieved using the reverse direction button in pad definition. So if I click on this, you can see that I change the direction to the opposite side. And again, I have a mirrored extent here. If I want to have the same padding in the opposite direction, I can click on this and you can see that I have padding in both direction to the same size. It is going to be 50 millimeters in both direction. So I click on OK, and now I have this padded 50 millimeters upward and 50 millimeters downward. So the padding is done. Now, as I told you, we have three predefined or pre-built planes. There are planes that are XY, YZ, and ZX. And whenever you pad something, you add some planes to your environment. Whatever face you see here is a plane. So if I want to have some more padding, I can select one of these faces or any of the planes that are here and then click on sketch, and you can see that I have selected this face right now. I go to sketch on this part, and now whatever I draw is on this face. So I start drawing a very simple circle here. I want to have it here, and this is gonna be this much. You can see that this is selected by default. I exit my workbench, and you can see that this is selected again. I go to pad tool, and you can see that because I have selected 50 millimeters before, this is going to have 50 millimeters by default, but I want it to be about 15, not 50. So the sketch can be changed whenever I, go to selection and select another sketch, but it is okay for me. So I click on OK, and you can see that there is another padding added to my environment. Now I want to see this from another, angle. So I press Shift button on my keyboard and press right arrow keys, and you can see that I am rotating to the right. I can click on top arrow key. You can see that this is going up, and now these are the ways that you can navigate through your system. Of course, I can press Control button and press Up key to pan my viewpoint up a little bit. So this is the easier panning. So you can see that I have this face, and this can be used as another plane to create some tools, but now I'm not going to talk about this. I'm going to have padding with more options. So I go and select, for example, XY plane again, and I click on a sketch, and now I'm in, XY plane. I want to pad to the right using Control button and right arrow key, and now I have an empty space here. I want to draw again a very simple rectangle, and now I'm not going to add any constraint to this. I want to exit, and now you can see that I have this here with Shift key and the right arrow key. I want to change my viewpoint so that I can see this better. Now I have this sketch here. Its name is sketch 3, and you can see that here. I'm going to select Pad tool, and now I'm going to click on More. This tells me that I have two limits. The first limit is the limit that I have created previously. I can use, for example, 20 millimeters in first direction. The limit means direction here. And I am going to select this profile. So I select this, and you can see that I have 20 millimeters in one direction. Now I want to have different amount of padding in the opposite direction. I'm not going to use mirrored extent. Mirrored extent will add the same amount of padding that I have here. I want to have about, for example, 35 millimeter of padding in the other direction. So I click on the second limit and type in 35, and now that I have this, I can click on preview. You can see that this is 35 millimeter in one direction and 20 millimeter in the other direction. So if I want to change directions, I can click on reverse direction again. So the order will change. I'm going to have this as I had previously. So I click on reverse direction again, and now I have this created for me by clicking OK. Now you can see that I have two different paddings, and both of them are created with the pad tool. And of course, in one of them I have used mirrored extent. In the second one I have used different amounts of padding in two limits.